Super Dave here with episode 25 of figures, playsets, and accessories that will work well with Motu Classics and Masterverse figures. And today I'm excited because we have two horses. One is the Mythic Legions Phobos. You can see a picture of that skull-like face and head on the side. There is the figure himself by Mythic Legions, designed by the Four Horsemen, their company there, and you can see that. That's going to be exciting. I'm really interested to see if he will work with my Storm Collectibles Ares that I pair with my evil villains in Motu, but also Hordak and Skeletor. Will he ride this okay? As well as Netflix, their show Witcher, and their black horse that they released. He's really cool looking, and this is just a regular black horse. But so he could be ridden by a good guy or a bad guy. There's a cool photo of him on the back, ridden by Witcher himself, the star. And they call this horse Roach, but I think we'll name him something different. That's just me. But anyway, we're going to break open this black horse and this spooky horse back here by Four Horsemen and check them out.
Deep inside the borders of Snake Mountain, we have evil villains gathering together to meet what even villains need, a ride. And that's right, today, in front of Snake Mountain, we are going to take a look at Phobius, the horse by Mythic Legions, and Roach by McFarlane from the Witcher series. Let's check these out, how they work alongside of our evil villains today.
And our two evil horses concerning accessories, not too much to cover here. They, of course, come with saddles. This one comes with a very fancy, evil-looking headdress with bat wings and evil-looking creature on the front of that saddle strap there. It has a section to store swords or a weapon, an axe or whatever there, a little loop. But the Roach did actually come, besides just his typical saddle, he did come with this flimsy little sword. And I say flimsy because it's just very gummy, very, very weak plastic. It's very, very rubbery. It's not a hard plastic at all, and you can bend it right back into place. But I guess that works okay because it will slide right in the sheath, and there's actually one on both sides of Roach. There's a sheath built into the saddle on this side and the opposite side. And now this is just me. You do what you want to if you were to get a hold of this guy, or if you have him, her, whatever. But they got this little fancy hairdo on the side there, little comb over for Roach, and this little part that goes down, but you can easily just pop that off. It's glued on. There's some glue underneath there, but you can just pop that off. And to me, Roach looks better without the little hairdo change. But that's just me. I mean, I'm taking that off there. All right, but there is Roach and Phobius. Now let's take a look at their articulation. Okay, so before we actually take a look at articulation, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you off the top here that Phobius by the Four Horsemen definitely knocks it out of the park for this set for me. I think he wins hands down. There's no comparison here. Here at Snake Mountain, looking at these two Dark Riders. I mean, yeah, Phobius looks better and just looks more solid. But yet again, let's take a look at the articulation and just really see how they measure out in articulation. And first we're going to take a look at Roach. Let's bring Roach on in here a little closer. And let's first of all look at this head. And it's going to be able to move up just a little bit. And then there's a ratcheted joint right here at the neck. But that's as far as he's going to be able to look up. He or she, I believe it's a she. But I don't know. But he will look down, and then that neck joint will ratchet all the way down like that. So you're going to be able to go down more than you can look up, so to speak. But that's as far up. But there is a little bit of a tilt on that neck joint up here. Nothing here as far as tilt. But then you're going to be able to turn that head some on that joint from side to side. So you will be able to turn that head like that, like so. So it goes up and down. It will tilt, pivot, and turn side to side. So you've got a good amount there. And then this ratchets also back and forth, and that's cool. All right. There is no diaphragm joint as far as anything in the body. It's solid. It doesn't turn or bend. There's no break between the legs to the back legs. But going ahead and looking at these legs, there's some good size joints up in there, as you see. And the front legs will go back that far, and they will go forward that far. And then there's a knee joint here, which that will hyperextend, which horses, they have a little bit more of a range there. But it's single jointed. You've got a knee, and then you've got an ankle. And again, it will hyperextend a little bit. And this also rotates, thankfully, because you're going to need that just to get the stability. And you can even, I don't know if it's supposed to, but you can certainly kind of rocker these in place. They're just real soft right here, and I needed to get him to stand up. But that's the front legs. Moving on to the back legs, that back leg will go forward this far, go out a real good amount there. Also has a knee joint that will bend single jointed that way, and then go out that way for running poses. Then again, you have the little ankle joint that will also rotate, which is kind of like I say, it's kind of like a rocker, or it will serve that purpose to help you out. But that's excellent. And then the tail will also swish back and forth, and as well as go out so he can take a dump. And there we go. So the tail is articulated. And this saddle looks like, you could technically probably, heat this up and get it off. I don't think I would chance it. I don't see any removable straps per se on this particular saddle, but you could certainly heat it up with a hair dryer and probably maneuver. You might actually have to cut up under here to get that off, but I don't see why you'd want to. But yeah, it's all kind of glued in. These pieces are glued onto that burlap looking brown part, the saddle blanket, I guess, underneath between his skin and the saddle. And then you've got these glued in between the black overlay here of the saddle and that, again, saddle blanket type thing underneath here. And the straps up here, you see the details of the little buckles there. So there's just a lot, like little pouch, and then that little sleeping bag, sleeping mat right there. This one doesn't detach, though. It looks like it's pegged in, glued in pretty tight, whereas the Phobius one will detach if it's like the one that we had with the regular brown horse. So anyway, there is the articulation for Roach. Pretty decent. I mean, you're going to be able to get some running poses and standing poses and get him where you need to. And we'll put the test really put it to the test, trying to put a figure on him here in just a few moments. But first, let's go ahead and look at our Phobius. Our Phobius and his articulation next. All right, now getting ready to take a look at Phobius and his articulation, and you can see already back there Skeletor riding Roach. Looking good. Looking really cool there. It's fitting in pretty good. I think the scale's all right there. Skeletor may be a tad big for the scrawniness of this horse. It does look a little scrawny, underfed. And maybe that's the way he was in the show. I've not watched Witcher very much. I may have watched a couple of episodes. But, yeah, he's a little scrawny. I mean, this dude, he's muscular. See the veins in his legs. Thick neck, muscles. You can see all the muscles throughout this beast here. Has that lavender purple looking down near the ankles and the base of the feet, and that purplish tail. Kind of a dark lavender purple trim with some matte black, of course, to make up the body, and some silver, really some silky or possibly even glossy paint to make up like the bat wings, and even this spine looking bone looking structure. I mean, you can see underneath here, it's almost like as it goes further toward the face becomes more bony, even to the point that all there is on the front there is the skeleton. It's even kind of a color of a skeleton on the very end of his mouth there. The eyes are whited out with a very deep white. It looks a little lavender because of my black light back there, but that's a deep white in the eyes. But yeah, I mean, really cool with the brown trim on the saddle and the black. He's got texture on his saddle blanket that's a purple, that same kind of lavender with a black hem around it, trim around it, almost gray. Then his little satchel here, it is removable. You can pop it out, but I'm not going to do so because on my brown horse, it was always falling off. So that one's pegged in pretty good there, but that's neat. It's got his little sack, sleeping blanket, sleeping mat, maybe you call it. But looking at his articulation, you're going to be able to look up. Oops, it pops off. Let me go ahead and show you this, though. You have a ball joint under here, and then you have that peg hole up in the head there. So what that's going to allow you to do is go up just a little bit like that, and then once you have it pegged back in, you will be able to look up a good amount like that. Definitely think that he's able to look up a little bit more than Roach. And then it also look down a good amount. And then using this neck joint the same way, but it's different because it's a ball joint. It feels like it's more of a ball joint here, but you can go way down. And you see this right here. You can cover that up with the straps, his buckles and straps there. Cover up that gap. But he can go way down like that. And you can also be able to turn side to side with that neck joint there. Let me adjust that again. With that neck joint, you are going to be able to go side to side and even bend left to right with that. You can see that ball joint, right? A big ball joint under there, which is perfect. You're going to be able to bend like that. And then also notice that you can also turn, if I can hold the neck still, you're also going to be able to turn this head side to side, get a little bit of a turn this way, turn that way, as well as side to side like a pivot, I guess it would be. So that's really good. I mean, you get full motion on that ball joint there at the head, and then you get full motion as well right here at this neck joint, going up and down and side to side like that. And again, if you get a gap like that, you can cover it up with this strap here. So let's see, the horse can kind of really turn his head like, what are you talking about, Willis? All right. I don't know where that came from, but that is cool. All right, moving on to the legs. Man, this guy's heavy. He's heavy. This is a heavy-duty, really heavy-duty, well-made action figure. I got to give my arm a break. All right, looking at these front legs, he's going to be able to go forward that much. He's going to be able to go back good amount there, that much. Wow, that's pretty good. And it also rotates. You can see the muscularity even in this front leg, really cool. And then on this second joint, the knee joint, it'll go down or back rather that much. And unlike the Roach one, you don't really get a hyperextension, so you might have to give that to the Roach horse, that you can actually hyperextend this one a little bit better to get maybe some of those poses. But then also you have, did I mention it rotates as well here? Rotates. And then you have, of course, the hoof, the ankle there, which that bends in, single jointed. And it, let's see, it also rotates. So that's where you're going to get a little bit of that, almost a rocker type ability to move that hoof in and out to give you some stability and posing, which is very important with a horse. It's top heavy, and then you put a character on top of it. You're going to need all of these features to get it done. You see that pad underneath here. Now this saddle will come off, and I don't like to do it, but you can unpeg it under here, or maybe it's on this side. I don't see it right now, but if it's like the brown one, you could unpeg it. I'm not going to even test it because I don't like these things falling off real easy, and they can if you get those pegs under there too loose. But you saw the little straps for weapons and stuff. A lot of detail, a lot of leather look. I mean, this saddle definitely looks more realistic in person. It's kind of shiny in this lighting with me trying to do a dark background, but it's definitely more realistic looking on this horse. Now, another thing that this horse can do, move this tail on out of the way, that the other one could not do without maybe popping that joint in our Roach's, back leg, popping the joint out of place, which you can do because it's like that Build-A-Figure horse that McFarlane did with the DC line, just a little different head. And different features. It is a different sculpt in some places, but it still pops together, and you can pop it out a little bit in the back, but this one's actually designed to fluidly, very well, move like so, with almost like a ball joint up in there on that side. So that helps a lot to straddle, to give yourself some stability. But going ahead and look at that back leg, it'll kick all the way out. Kick He-Man out of the screen there if he's a bad guy horse, right? And let's see, that joint will go about that far in. Move both of them there and let you see it better. All right, let me go ahead and kick this one out of the way. And then this one, this joint will actually, it will actually bend way back itself, so when you put the two together, boy, they will really go. And then this joint will also go way forward like so. It looks weird, like so. So you can definitely get those running poses, getting that second joint in there. And it, let's see, is there a rotation in there? Yeah, there is. There's a rotation in that joint. It's just very tight on mine, but there is a rotation here. Then, of course, this one will bend forward a good amount there. And there's a rotation here. And then the ankle will bend back and rotate on the back leg. Boy, he's heavy. It's a solid figure. But yeah, you get a lot of motion back there on those back legs. You're going to get a lot of posability back there. And then, of course, this tail, just like Roach, will swing back and forth and go up. All right, so there is Phobius articulation. A lot of good articulation. And also, I didn't mention, but there is no diaphragm, no break in the belly back area to be able to bend or turn or do anything as far as from neck to tail or legs to legs. There's nothing in there, but you get plenty of range with those legs, so you're going to be able to get, and with that neck on this one, you get a lot more with the neck on Phobius. I would actually have to give Phobius, even this horse, the win even over Roach as far as articulation. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put a rider. I really want to check Aries, Storm Collectibles Aries, on this horse and see if Aries is too big for him or if it scales good. So I'll be right back. All right, taking a look at our horses. I'm telling you one thing, that Aries looks perfect on this Phobius Mythic Legion 4 Horsemen horse. I'm telling you, look at that. I mean, that is wicked. Perfect. Just check that out. That is so neat. He's running. I could have done a little better job maybe with his leg work. Looks a little retarded there. I didn't realize it till on camera. It does look a little bit weird for a running pose, but you get the idea. I mean, you can make him run, and I think that fits good in scale with that. I mean, you remember this Aries, and I've got a review up on Aries with an episode of figures, play sets, and accessories that work well with Motu Classics and Masterverse. I mean, this Aries is big looking because of all this armor, but his arms and waist and chest are actually pretty scrawny compared to a lot of the Storm Collectibles stuff. But he's got all that body armor, a lot of that armor on. And so because of that armor, and he's dropped the straps here, he keeps dropping. These straps are always hard for them to hold. I have the same problem with my Golden Axe figures on their dragons. They don't want to hold the straps. But so he's got that sword and that wired cape that will just, you can pose, and he just gets in that saddle perfect. You can even get his feet in the stirrups. But that looks dynamite. I mean, that looks great. I mean, I have to say I'm impressed with that. This is the reason I bought this horse. That's the only reason I ordered this horse, because I don't buy all of Mythic Legion stuff by far. I mean, I handpick the ones that I want. I don't even collect the ones that look like, Motu wannabes. I'm just not that impressed. I think it's cool, but I'm not going to spend $50-$60 to get each of those figures. But that's not in my collection, because I have the actual Skeletor and the actual Stinkor and the actual Mossman, but stuff like that. But anyway, I do have a custom head, and shout out to my man that makes this custom head with the magnet feature. I love that head. You can actually pop on the open mouth red eye version magnetically there. You saw that at the beginning of the video. So you don't even have to change the head to get the eyes red and the mouth open. You just pop in the new faceplate. Look at the detail. I just love that. There's his name there, and that scrolled through. But that is cool. On Instagram. All right, you can find him, check out his work. He does custom work and commissions, but he's got some of these in stock, or at least he had the unpainted ones, and you can tell him how you want it. If you want it bone color, these actually are yellow with some green highlights. It's hard to tell in this lighting. You might be able to tell better right here. There's a little bit of a green highlight around the mouth and brow. Really detailed, really nice, really well done. It's a real hard resin, detail quality. Love it. Awesome. But that Skeletor looks good on Roach. He does look a little big on Roach, I will say. But I think you can pass it off, I mean, you can make it work. You can make it work. He definitely sits in the saddle great. But let's go ahead and try some more action figures on Roach. I'm not even going to mess with... I am satisfied. This is why I bought this figure, and that's probably about the biggest action figure you're going to want to put on this Phobius horse by Mythic Legions. But man, that's perfect. And I'll even show you, just for size comparison, in the head. There's his actual head. He's not really that big of a character, but see, he fits. He's on there. That is so awesome. And there's that big old axe he comes with. And you could probably get that. Yeah, you could fit that in there and have that, you work that in between his leg. That's a little big for him to ride with. But you could certainly put, another sword or something with him. Of course, he's got this huge sword. I love that sword that Aries came with. But, look. That is just perfect. I love that. He looks so good. He looks so good there. Just awesome. Awesome. All right, I want to try Hordak on this Roach character. Let's try Hordak on him. Scale-wise, I think Hordak would look okay on this horse, but the problem is, and I didn't even notice this when I was doing Hordak's review, his loincloth is super stiff, real plasticky and stiff. Unlike Skeletor's, the Revelation Skeletor body back there, it's real soft and gummy, moves out of the way. This one is a hard, plastic, stiff piece. I had to pop it forward just to kind of get him in there a little bit, and even still the back part of it is still blocking him from really getting in the saddle. But as far as scale-wise, he actually looks pretty good, maybe even a little better if he'd sit down in the saddle than Skeletor, but I don't know. It could work. You might have to just, do some adjustment or heat up that plastic with a hairdryer. I don't know. But yeah, you could make it happen. Let's try another action figure on this particular horse, Roach, all right? All right, I wanted to show you a action figure scaled about the size of Teela and Andrea. There's Andrea in her getup, that she wore in the Revelation series when they were in that cave. The both of them, Teela and Andrea, had that on, and I didn't put the mask head on there, but I wanted to show you that looks really cool. I mean, she scales perfect on this Roach horse. I really like that. And I like that cloak on her as well, that black on black. I mean, that looks just awesome. I love that. Really, really cool. She fits great. You can see her foot goes in the stirrup there, and you could just, make everything just fit perfectly together here. So Ares is chasing her. Looking awesome, man. This is so cool. Love it. I love that. Love that look there. So you can kind of get an idea there from her scale that, your taller Marvel Legends, because Andrea was on the shorter side of some of the Masterverse figures. Not too much, though. She was still, almost 7-inch scale, but a little bit shorter. All right. Really cool looking. Awesome. And man, I'm just in love with this Ares on Phobius there. There they are in front of Snake Mountain. Dun, 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 dun. All right, let's do some comparisons. And there's our Roach on the end there next to that Figma white horse, which is so tiny for them to claim it's 1/12 scale. That is 1/12 scale, in my opinion. Maybe it's the 7-inch scale. I don't know, but you need that horse to be bigger. You can make some of your smaller action figures work on those white Figma horses, and there's a brown one in too. But yeah, I like the size of this Roach and this Phobius better. There he is next to Battle Cat and She-Ra's Swiftwind. So you kind of get an idea there. Swiftwind is in scale with this Roach. May even be a little bit, Swiftwind may be a little bit bulkier, thicker, not as scrawny looking. Just a little bit. A little thicker. A little bit thicker and more muscular than Roach. But in my opinion, as far as horses go, that Phobius takes the cake. And of course the brown version that I had, there's a review up on that Mythic Legion brown horse, and I'll show you a comparison of that here also. And there's our brown Mythic Legion horse, which basically is the exact same size. That stuff on our Phobius's head kind of makes him look a little bigger, but they're about the same scale, about the same size, I do believe. But there's a Marvel Legends figure on our brown horse to just give you an idea, kind of like the scale there. You could definitely use your Marvel Legends on these horses as well, especially the Roach, but even on these big boys here. Yes. Cool. Okay, so I was wrong. The black horse is a little bit taller, especially I believe in the neck area, than our brown horse from Mythic Legions. And I'm sorry I forgot his name. But yeah, he is taller. He is taller. And I checked to see if it was because I had his head raised higher, but no. He is a little bit taller, which is a good thing because that allows my Ares to ride him have that you know, that height, that scale advantage there. So that's cool. And you can see how Motaro looks, this horse-like being next to these dudes. Just so cool. I'm just loving it. Loving it. Loving it. Loving it. I like it. I like it a lot. So awesome. So you can see how Marvel Legends scales to that brown one. But yeah, I mean, let me move that over here, because you're going to have to see that, yeah, I mean, he's a lot taller. The black horse is a lot taller. Well, I say a lot. I mean, it looks taller. Yeah. He is taller, because see, when I put him over here with the brown horse, holding his reins there in his hand, I mean, he looks good. That looks about right. But next to over there, it swallowed him up. I mean, that black horse is just taller, but looks great with Ares. So, all right, there you have it, our horses. Please like, subscribe if you haven't. We're ticking up the numbers, excited about growing on the Super Dave channel, and then comment if you have something to share or say, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time. Got another Mythic Legion figure coming, excited about him. He'll be in this weekend, and we'll be doing episode 26. But this has been episode 25 of Figures, Playsets, and Accessories that work well with Motu Classics and Masterverse. Here's some photos. Be blessed.